All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott, part of my Jeff Teaches Programming C# in the @JPS Jeff Teaches Programming channel. I think that's what it's called at least. In the previous video, I did video 10, where I did the second iteration of the BMI console, where we added functions. All right, I grabbed that program and I saved it. So we now have third iteration. All right. And in this third iteration, we're going to use functions and add error handling. Plus, we're going to use these min height, min weight, max weight that we didn't use before. Let's do those first, okay? Because that'll be pretty easy to do, believe it or not. All right, so I'm going to say here, please enter a height. And then I'm going to say between min height and oops, I need another plus sign there, sorry about that, max height. Okay. Now, when we run this, it should look exactly, all right, it should look exactly the way it did before, but now we're actually using those values. So let me copy this, because the other one down here is going to be the same. Except, let's see. All right, so I've got from here on. Crud. Screwed up. We'll fix it. We'll fix it right now. Okay, that fixed that one. Now let's fix this one. Okay, so weight, oops, and weight, and height, and height. It should look exactly the same when we run this now. I don't think I've made any errors, but we'll see right now. Save all, let's run it. So notice, please enter height, but now it's using min height, and it's using max height. Now it's using min weight and max weight. And the program still looks like it works just fine. All right, plus you'll notice now these are not grayed out anymore. So we've got that done. So we've done this. That was the easy part, okay? All right, now what do we want to do? You know, the error handling that we have to do is in input height and it's in input weight. All right, we've actually got that code pretty much that we wrote in the GUI version, but I'm going to write it from scratch right here, so hopefully I won't screw it up. So here we're reading in the height. Height string equals read line. We're going to say here, if height str is equal to nothing. What does that mean? Well, no height was entered. So call the input height function again. Now that might not be the cleanest way to do it, but I'm just going to call input height. Now let's see what that does. All right, let's see what that does. All right, we should probably give a message here. So let's do a write line. And say no height input. try again. Okay, so let's try that and see what happens. Let's run it. Now we're putting nothing in for the height. Well, it broke. Why did it break? Because at the end, what it did, stupidly on my part, but we're going to look at it. All right, because we're going to do some debugging. It still went down here and attempted to convert. Why? Well, let's see. Height string, read line, convert, because, well, where did I put this stuff? Good gravy, Jeff. Input weight, input height. Height equal read line. I don't even, it looks like it didn't save it. Or I'm just, maybe I shouldn't be taping tonight. I don't know. Let's try it again. If height str is equal to nothing, no height was input. Show error message and call input height again. All right, so right line, error, no height input, try again. Just leave it like that. That's pretty simple. And input height. All right. Now, when it does that, it should be going back to here, I would think. All right. I'm trying to figure out where I put that code. Oh, it's screwed up somehow. Let's try it again. Hold on a minute. Here's the problem. I'm in the second iteration. And there it is in the third iteration. Okay. That's my fault. Like I said, maybe it's a little too late to be doing this again tonight. Sorry. Let's just remove this. That's all we got to do. That's it. So file, save all, and the problem is what I did not do was change my startup project to the third one. So now let's try it. All right, I'm going to put in nothing. No height input, try again. Notice, tells us to try again. Okay, so we've got that done. That's now done. All right. Now, it's giving us an error right here, and that's okay, because we're not done writing our error code yet. All right, so now if it's empty, we're going to do this. And we're going to do a similar thing. Oops. So if this is the case, we know right here that we did put something in. All right. I'm going to change this from a convert.toInt, which just assumes it's going to work with no problem, all right, to a try parse. And we're going to say here, if you remember from before, bool result equal int dot try parse height string and height. Okay, what that is again, we're doing the same thing. We're attempting to convert height string to height. And if it works, result will be true. And if it doesn't work, result will be false. So if not result, all right, I'll grab this because we can do a pretty similar thing right here. All right, then no, this would mean a non-numeric height was entered. All right, so here where I've got this we'll say first print error message. And so we know what error message. We'll say no input error message. Here we'll say first print non-numeric error message. All right. So that's not no height input, it's non-numeric height input. Try again. So let's try that one. So File, Save All. You already know if we put nothing in there, that's being handled. So let's put hello. Non-numeric. Try again. So now we've handled both no input and non-numeric input. All right. Well, it didn't like 12, so let's see. Try again. Please enter height. How about... Okay, and it's because we didn't put our last check in, so... And that should be weight. So we'll get all this done in just a second. Let's just stop the run here. All right. So there's one more check we have to make. Okay. So we're converting. We're checking for non-numeric. Now we have to check for an out of range height input. All right, so if height is less than min height, we're going to use that again, or, which is two signs like this, or it's greater than max height, we again, now this is out of range height was inputted, out of range height was entered. First print, I'm just going to call it OOR, out of range, error message, and then call input height again. So, out of range height input, try again. Now let's see if that handled everything, and if it did not, then we'll have to figure out why. So nothing being handled. Out of non-numeric being handled. Out of range being handled. How about in range? Now it's saying out of range. There's a problem there. We'll have to figure that out. So 88. No, it's saying non-numeric. So something is screwed up in there. So we'll have to figure that out. All right? And this is good. All right, look at it. You learn from your mistakes. That's how it works. All right? And sorry, there goes the clock again. All right. But let's try to play computer. So we come in here. All right? And it says, please enter a height between 12 and whatever. If there's nothing in there, it should do this and call input height again. So it should send us right back to here. That's good. All right. We've got that. Okay. Now, if we did put in something, we attempt to convert it. If the conversion failed, it should say non-numeric, try again. All right, and it should call it again. All right, finally, if we put in something out of range, less than min or greater than max, it should give us an out of range error and we should try again. Now, what I want to see here is what happens if I put a valid number in there. So if I put in 72, it just says please enter a height, which is wrong. I don't know why it would say that, but oh, I know why, because here we didn't change for the weight. Yep, that's got to be weight. Please enter a weight between that. All right, does it work when we put in valid numbers? That's my question. Okay, so 72, 111, underweight. Looks good. In one of the next iterations, what we'll do is we'll add a loop in here so we can keep running this. As it is right now, we got to just rerun it every time. All right. So, got to do a little better job than what I had done earlier. So if we put something out of range, so let's put in here nothing. All right, so now let's try it, and we'll put in 72. And it's saying non-numeric height input. Try again. So let's look at that. So we are getting down to, it is saying no height input, try again, and it should have called input height. So it should have gone right back up to here. But it's giving that. So it's calling this. It's coming in here, and it should be calling it all over again. We shouldn't have to do that. Height string should be being reinitialized to nothing. All right. Let's go and put some breakpoints in here. What are breakpoints? The program will stop when we get to that point. If we put our cursor over here and click, that's a breakpoint. It's kind of a cyan color. So let's see if this got called and if this got called. I think we can put one right here. Okay, we're going to try that at least. All right. So notice the program stopped right here. That's good. That's what we want to have happen. All right, we're going to tell it to continue. So it should come here now and say, please enter a height. There it is. Please enter a height between 12 and 96. Hit enter, meaning there's nothing there, which is going to push us down. We'll continue. And it should call input height again. All right, so it did. And notice what it did. It came to right here. It didn't reset these. That may be what the problem is. I didn't think I would have to come back and reset these to nothing, but I'm going to do it anyway to see if that fixes our problem. All right. So we'll say try again. And I'm going to say height string equals nothing, height equals 0. Again, I didn't think I'd have to do that. Height is tr. I'm going to get rid of, the program is still running, and that's why I think it's a little screwed up right now. Stop. We'll get rid of that. Okay, yeah, that got rid of the error. Now, I'm going to show you a little shortcut here in a second, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy this, so I've got that in here, and I'm going to copy it again, so I've got that here. Okay? So file, save all, and let's see if that fixed it. nothing, nothing, good. Non-numeric, non-numeric, out of range, out of range. So let's see now if we put something in range if it works. It's still saying out of range height input. That one shouldn't have gotten caught. So I'm going to stop the run, and I'm going to put another, let's see, if it's out of range, if it's not out of range, I'm going to put something right here, okay, and that's going to allow me to see when I'm doing this. Let's do that again. So please enter the height, and I'm going to put in nothing. And you'll notice that that breakpoint was not hit. That's good. So I'm going to put in here, hello. It was hit here, okay? And when I continue, it says non-numeric is exactly what it should do. All right? But if I do it again and I put in here 1 and hit enter, it's coming in here and it's saying that it's false, 1. All right? That it was a 1. That's good. So I'll continue. And it's saying it was out of range. Now I hit enter accidentally. So let's put in 72 here. Hit enter. It's 72. It says non-numeric height input. Well, I'm kind of at a loss right now, so I'm going to go back and just pause for a second, see if I can figure it out, and I'll come right back. All right, I'm going to stop this video right now. I did make this work, but I'm going to create another video explaining how I got it to work. It's a little bit flaky, for lack of better words, so I'll come back with that shortly.